Hey, so do you remember when I did this? Now, if you don't, you probably shouldn't be here, but you clicked on the video, so you must have a reason to stick around or some sort of interest. Also, while you're here, please do try and like and subscribe, and also check out the channel. You can undo it any time. It just really shows that you like the content, it's great support and motivation for me to keep going. Yes, I'm revisiting the concept of turning animals into dragons, but actually switching up some of the variables. For instance, this time I get to choose which dragons I do, and also I'm reversing the transference process. So now, yes, I'm doing dragons into animals. It's going to be so fun. And of course, this video, like the one before, isn't just me doing it, it's actually a visual guide. I'm going to have steps if you want to try this challenge yourself. It's going to be the same sort of instructions, slightly changed because obviously we have reversed the transference process. So let's go. Right, so obviously first up we'll have to randomise some animals and choose some dragons. So first up we have Quetzalcoatl, and here we see the wild sloth. No, not that sloth. This sloth. This is gonna produce some interesting results. Right, next up we have Yamato no Orochi mixing up with the Kiwi. And my dear Frodo, Ankh-Lagon was the dragon the size of the Mere Mountain. Through the power of Morgoth, is being transformed into blowfish. So first up is enum or number one. Basically all you're going to do here is start by practicing off drawing the animals either from reference pictures or photos you've taken yourself. You might have to go for a zoo for that. But I've found some pictures on the web just here and there, and I'm basically just drawing like portions of the animals and possibly bits that allow them to come to life. For example, the egg here, I've drawn a kiwi egg. By the way, do you know they're massive? They literally take up the whole body space. But yes, the idea at this stage is to basically grasp the idea of the animal's anatomy. Tarond. Right, or number two. So this is where you really start to draw your conceptual sort of pieces or your base for your final piece, kind of like construction lines when drawing people. All you want to do here is draw very sort of simple, sketchy sort of things, and make sure you draw it in like a couple different positions or one main one. I like to spread my stuff out with a couple like bits of the animal here and there. It just makes it look more conceptual. And I am actually going for a cryptid style, so I do this with a lot of my pieces. And you can see I'm using different colours to indicate for key features, which you should probably do on all the animal bases as well, just because it allows you to know where to put your colours when it comes to that. And hopefully it alludes to the animal's sort of details and features a bit better. Now I am actually using the warp and transform tool here on Krita, which is a program that I use and it's super duper helpful, and I'm just kind of playing around with what I kind of want to go in the final image. Trenair or 3. Now this is where you really want to move on to base foundation colour. So what I'm actually doing is sampling colours from my reference images. You can actually just use colours that you think go best with it from a description. I have actually got descriptions for all of these. Quetzalcoatl is a mix between a Quetzal bird and a serpent, so I've actually used the colours from the image. And then for Ankh-Lagon here, again, I'm using colours from the image, even if they're not on the dragon, because I really like this orangey sort of pale texture. And I really want to include that somehow. But again, this is very basic. Again, you just kind of want to indicate key detail. I'm trying to sort of paint some like red feathers on here. I'm probably going to do like a crown as well. But yeah, you don't need to add like highlights or shadows or tones just yet. You basically just want to cover your sketches in colour. Now, as you can see here, I am once again using the transformer tool to actually copy and paste and also move these around, because I've got a bunch of identical ones I've copy and pasted, and that's kind of a key thing for this dragon. You also may notice that this looks like I've used different colour tones. I actually haven't. All I've done is lowered and highered the opacity of the brush to give it that sort of like watercolour effect. That's what I want to go for this one. Kind of like an inky effect as well. I think it looks really, really cool and sort of alludes to the traditional sort of Chinese, Japanese style. So yeah, looks pretty sick. Soldar or 4, this is where you kind of want to add darker tones and lighter tones. And what I'm actually doing here is, because I've been using Krita for about a week now, and I'm already really into the brushes and know exactly what brushes I need to use. I'm using kind of like a rake one to actually make like a hair effect here with the darker and lighter tones, trying to give that sort of shift into darker coloured hair. And I'm also doing different brushes for this one. I'm actually using an oil paint brush for this one, just to give it a bit more effect and gravitas. And then for the kiwi, I'm probably going to go ahead and just use the same brush but with a lower opacity and darker and lighter shades and tones of the colours. I really hope this is fairly understandable, because I'm trying to make it sound as easy as I can. But yeah, it's literally just using colours to create sort of texture and 3D-ness of the image that you're trying to do, whatever style it may be in. Galkdo or 5, this is where you add shadows and highlights. So highlights is in whites, shiny effects. You can actually add glow to your piece as well with lower opacity brushes and things like that. I tend to go with sort of solid white for claws and shiny things I know what I want to be shiny, whereas larger things like fur, I'll go for a low opacity brush, oil paint generally, or sometimes the rake thing. And this really adds like shine to the piece where I want it to go, but also it adds just more 3D-ness and it just brings the whole piece together. Also, really good thing to do, which I've been trying to push myself to do since I started art, is to sign my pieces as well as write the date. Now, I came up with this signature the other day. It's one I'm probably going to use on every digital piece from now on. It says will.cc for Will with just a 1L and create some characters. So yeah. And then obviously you've just got to write the date as well. And that will be the piece pretty much finished. That is your kind of stamp of approval. It shows that you've finished and you're happy with the piece. Now, not everybody's outcomes are going to be the same. Obviously, some are going to be very different. Don't put yourself down about it. Try and lift yourself up about your art, to be honest. Even some things that go wrong, they can just be experiments and they can be there for like better improvement next time. Or you could even take the concepts that's gone slightly badly and push it further into development and make it look absolutely spectacular. To be honest, this has happened to me a couple of times and I've turned it around quite well and I've got some really, really great outcomes. So don't put yourself down, push yourself up. Say to yourself, you know what, my art is actually quite good. Because that's really, really going to motivate you to go on and do more and more. Coming back to the video though, I think it's actually time for the reveal and these are going to look so epic. I'm so happy with the outcomes. So as you can see, they turned out absolutely brilliant. I literally can't think of words how to describe them. But if you're wondering where I get the styles from, I kind of literally just go with the flow. I just dive in and keep going, and I don't really think about the style I'm going for. It just kind of just happens. It's really weird. BT dubs, these are my socials, so please do check them out. I'm actually starting a Patreon properly in 2024. I'm hoping to sell some stuff and do some extra content just for anyone who wants to see that. And I will say it does take a lot of time to make these videos. That was filmed over the last 5 days, and this is actually the 6th day I'm doing the voiceovers and stuff, so it's quite a lot of work going into it, so I would appreciate the support from liking, subscribing, follow, share, and obviously again check out my socials, because you'll see stuff on there you probably won't see on the channel. Anyway, I'll see you in December, because I'm doing sort of like an advent thing where I do a shorter day, and it's going to be really, really fun, kind of like what I did in October. But I'll see you all very, very soon. Stay positive, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.